Hello, everyone. My name is Sequoia Romero. I am an engineer and scientist in New Mexico, and I am going to be going over today a session, actually, a meeting with a gentleman who is exploring how to get messages out using online media. We'll be using YouTube. That's what we're using now. And I think this is really important because there's a lot of people, just emerging into computer technology and trying to figure out, the what's and an about, and how to use it to convey messages. And, the messages vary from, person to person, but, ultimately a lot of people are trying to, come out with some of their ideals and, try to help the world. And, there is a lot of videos out there. And sometimes I think the more the merrier, especially if you do it on a more realistic sense. I use meetings; they seem to help because people can ask questions. I think a meeting between two people is really good. So I hope you enjoy the video. If you're, you got some crazy ideal and you just want to, get on YouTube or something like this, this might be a good start for you. I'm not an expert in YouTube technology or multimedia. Like I said, I'm an engineer, electrical engineer actually, and I share a story in this video about how once upon a time I, made an important discovery, about energy, and wanted to talk to the world about it, and it caused me to research media and think about how that works. So I hope that again this is helpful for anyone out there who's just starting and worrying about how technical this does this get, especially if you're considering spending some money. Thinking I got to make a website and all that stuff, and you may not have to. I'm introducing the Google product and YouTube through it, so that people can get started on trying to put out a message without spending a lot of money or if nothing at all. So again, I hope you like this, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions or comment on the YouTube feed. Thank you. Now there's the chime. Okay.
Hey, Sequoia, if I record this, how do I play it back? Or how
I'll,
do I see the recording?
I'll show you. It's a
Okay.
file, so it's an actual file. So I'm going to actually share my screen real quick. Um, of course, it's not going to let me show the Zoom thing, but normally at the bottom of the Zoom, there's going to be tools. Can you see this up here, up on the screen?
Yeah.
So
The
normally,
S, the red S?
yeah, I'm gonna pull up a because it won't let me show you my Zoom screen, but it'll let me browse the internet and show you a Zoom screen. So let's do Zoom meeting interface. And this is a great way, if you're trying to introduce Zoom. Okay, here we go. So let me get to this picture here. Oh my goodness. Of course, it takes you other places, but let's see. We'll work with this small. So this right here, this little window here is about what you get with Zoom, right? So
Yeah.
you get some tools down here, and in the bottom, now this is an older one, but in the bottom you have these tools to record. So right down here,
Right.
the last one, you have the option to record,
Yeah.
which you click on that, you can put record as well. And it's a file, and most of the time it'll send to your computer, or it'll be a file available for download. Now on mine, I think it's going to actually email it to me. Zoom's a little bit trickier to use. That's why eventually, and we're going to get you onto the Google Meets because it just sends it to your email and it's very easy to use. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, can you turn on your volume or speak louder on your
Yeah, I can get the microphone a little bit closer. Is that better?
uh yes, thanks.
Okay, no problem. And let me try to turn it up on my keyboard just a little bit. There we go. How's that? Is that better?
That's good. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. We're going to go back to that. And I'm going to crank up the volume on my microphone just a little bit here. Let's see if I have control over it. Let's see. You can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to start with a presentation that I got ready for us. So I'm going to share that in just a moment and just make sure you can see everything. Can you see that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I'm going to start with My name, of course, my name is Sequoia Romero. In attendance, I have Michael Wilborn, and we'll also have a special AI guest to elaborate on some topics. Here's a, kind of a breakdown. I want to talk about my inspiration, what got me into reaching out to people using social media, uh, getting to the part where we have a desire to help people, teach people, and solve problems. And that's what usually starts this whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, Problems we might encounter, inspiring others with other discoveries, with our discoveries, excuse me. Things I've learned along the way, especially with some research I did. So you get a little background on my research. It's just just a good example. A little help from some academics, a little help from our special AI guest, additional tips, and we're going to be delving right into YouTube using the basic Google interface and product. And then, of course, the technical setup afterwards, which means me connecting to your machine and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Good.
So there's the first page. And actually, make this easier, just going to go to the second page. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about media. We've all had, I think, a moment where we watched something and it created some form of inspiration. This was mine. This is a movie called Chain Reaction. What it was about was something of a type of technology that I thought was just sci-fi. The film came from 1996. If you haven't seen it, definitely would recommend watching it. It's a great movie. What got me on this movie was this moment right here. There was a professor talking about how there's enough power in that glass of water that he's holding to power the city of Chicago for weeks. They really got my attention. You can actually go and watch this video yourself if you go to that link right there. I'll put the link in the YouTube feed so that people can simply click on it and watch what I'm talking about. But he's talking about a pollution evolution, and that we've got very little time to figure something out. Um, well, and he was also talking about that it's clean, which I thought was interesting, and fuel from water. Wow, real cool sci-fi, entertaining movie, supposed to be sci-fi and fantasy. I remember I was in a chemistry class, and as a result of watching the movie, the inspiration from the media, I asked my chemistry teacher, "Is it possible to split water, the hydrogen out of water, and use it as a fuel?" And they said, "Well, you need the surface temperature of the sun, stuff like that." Well, actually, what it was is the person didn't know. That person ended up leaving. That teacher ended up going on somewhere else, and so eventually we ended up with two or three different substitute teachers, and all I could do was flip through the book, and I found a simple diagram, and it looked like kind of like this, a little bit more crude actually, and it was describing using electricity to split water into hydrogen and oxygen. Well, it said that this is a electrolysis apparatus. I wanted to know more about it. The library didn't have any information about it. And so that's actually how I learned how to use the computers and internet. And so doing my very first Google search, I found this diagram. Shows you how to use a battery, two pencils, and some water to replicate the experiment. In other words, you're splitting the water into two components, hydrogen, which is flammable, oxygen, which is an oxidizer, and so on and so forth. And my goodness, I found something. It was like a lightning had hit my mind and struck my brain. I said, "We have a discovery. The world has the right to know, and the need."
Eureka.
Yeah, it's Eureka. I mean, it got you. I mean, that was me, 15 years old, and I had a message, and I really wanted to, talk to the world about this.
How old were you?
About 15, 14, give or take. Um, I found out that we had a fuel from water that, it was clean, it was free if you use, alternative energies to procure it. I just wanted to know so much more, and I wanted to talk to people about it. It was really profound. Of course, later on, I talked to as many people as possible about it. I was excited. I wanted to tell everybody, hey, we don't need to bleed in Saudi Arabia, or we don't need to stress anymore. We have a fuel source. There you can get fuel from water. It can run in cars. You have to do some adjustments, but I was a young and very, very excited boy, and you know it's time to take a great journey. Lots of work ahead. I dedicated myself to science. I did all sorts of research. and I was ready for this journey.
Sequoia, excuse me,
Yeah.
didn't Tesla do this?
Actually, Nikola Tesla was working on something more like wireless energy. He wanted to be able to transmit energy through the air. Uh,
Okay.
this could have been a part of it. You can say the same type of thinking. So what I ended up running into as a kid was the obstacles. You know, I found out that from my physics professor, he said, it's not an efficient process. You only get 50% of the energy from the electricity at best into the process. The rest turns into heat. All kinds of other things. I also found out that the technology was about 100 years old. And in my very own chemistry page was not even a page dedicated to this information or technology, but a very small, excerpt. It was very small. You almost could miss it if you weren't paying attention. And I almost did. It was, I think, by some luck that I saw that device in there. I knew what I was looking at because I had seen that movie and hydrogen had me going. I said, well, heck, if you burn hydrogen with oxygen, it just turns back in the water. It's not poisonous. Well, there's of course a lot of things that stood in the way. Of course, eventually you start getting to the part where you find out, yes, it's dangerous to work with if you don't know what you're doing. There's things to be discovered, but most of what I found was greed. Greed was an issue with this whole thing, and there's definitely a hold on oil, but it wasn't all that there was. There is really just another thing about what we do and do not know, and that was what I discovered later. That was the big thing. It was almost as important as the technology itself was why after 100 years is this technology so almost ignored? But I did my research. This is actually a picture of something I built. It was a senior project. I did the science. I went further. I said, okay, you're worried about the safety. This device right in the middle actually regulates how much hydrogen is produced before it overfills. It's solar powered. This is a battery for backup. It'll run all night after the energy is, used up. So in other words, this solar panel powered the battery, which powered the process, and it was all solar. So in other words, the whole worry about, okay, it's not efficient, you have to put energy in to split the water and turn it into a fuel, you have to use energy to do that. And I said, well, yeah, so take the energy from the sun then. So this is a solar panel turning that energy into, or the water into a stored energy. And you see those two tanks right here. The big kickoff for me wasn't the grade. It was that I actually connected this to a torch, turned it on, and it worked.
Wow.
So, in other words, I burnt a fuel, it got hot enough to melt metal, and the byproduct was water. So, I went and went further and I said, okay, again, I keep on seeing excuses. And then in the academia, I found that there was people that were tied to oil that were trying to say alternative energy is not real. It doesn't work yet. It's not ready. Well, I beg to differ. I did my own research. Okay. But again, it's all about messages. Media and publication is changing, it's shifting constantly. Um, as you might have seen already, we have new ways of reaching people. We have ways of reaching people from angles that we never thought were possible, drones and you name it. The world is changing completely. But I found out that the battle wasn't for energy or, oil or any of that stuff. The energy was actually somewhere in being able to send a message. It starts with the human mind. What are we dealing with there? Again, my question was because I found out that there was really no ignorance of the ideal that hydrogen is usable. There was really no problem with that. The real problem was is that people did not know about it. One, two, didn't care about it, and all kinds of other things. And almost like an atmosphere of disinformation. And I did a paper on that too. There is a atmosphere of disinformation about the topic concerning alternative energy. It starts with all sorts of things. But yeah, the fact is that the whole process of the mind is the problem. So I have a citation here. Here's our academic help. The human mind is complex and often irrational beast. Swaying large groups of people, even with the most logical and compelling arguments, is akin to herding cats. I have my answering machine rolling here. Sorry about that. And okay, so the citation was from the science and practice. What it was basically saying is that, the renowned psychologist emphasizes the inherent challenges of influencing large groups of people due to complexities. All right. So, more words from psychologists. How common, according to psychologists, is it for people to be distracted or disconnected from important information? Psychologists widely recognize that distraction and tendency towards neutrality are common human response to information. Hold on, I'm going to let this person finish their message. I can't stop it.
Okay.
Uh, Running an engineering lab and having the phone. um, one of my patrons calling on a regular basis. You never know when she's going to call. Okay, now she's finished. Okay, so what we're saying is there's a lot of things, that hinder the mind from adopting new information. And the reason why I talk about these hurdles is because I think this was the most important thing for me to discover outside of the fact that we have a fuel to replace oil, or at least an alternative to it. And it's that we have all sorts of things that go on in the mind. And just to name a few, there's cognitive load, cognitive dissonance, um, complex and overwhelming things tend to get distracted from. But I thought this one was the most profound right here. Our brains have a limited processing power when faced with too much information. So I'd heard this before from a psychologist here in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Another really interesting quote was this one right here. Human mind is exquisitely designed to avoid mental discomfort when confronted with information that challenges deeply held beliefs or requires significant behavioral change. Individuals often resort to denial, avoidance, or other cognitive strategies to maintain mental equilibrium. And I said, this is because I have to reply to this. This might help explain why people find it hard pressed to try to get other people to adopt a view, even if it is the truth. The ideal suggests that it's a sort of painful to think of and overcome obstacles of the mind. People also choose the kind of things that they visit in their mind as they it tends to be easier thoughts for them. Looks like I made some grammatical issues in that. For example, climate change, whether true or not, is not true in the minds of many people simply because this is not the climate that their mind thrives in. So, just to name a few. Um, there was, of course, a citation from this citation came from Stanford University. So, really interesting little things. And I have more. There's talks about focuses that when we're considering doing something online, they're actually saying the academic sources are saying stay closer to emotion, actually, not the logic, which sounds funny because we would think that people are obsessed with fact and truth, but the actual truth about it is that our viewers of social media are actually incredibly emotional, but they do look for authenticity.
They do
And
look for authenticity, did you say?
authenticity, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they do want to understand. You do want to, as a a YouTube or an influencer, as they're called, understand the audience. You have to optimize your content to tailor to them. You have to engage your viewers. And I didn't put it on here, but there's a person from history who's my favorite, you know, unintended influencer, if you will. Her name was Mercy Lewis back in the Salem witch trials. She was a little girl with epilepsy that her father kept indoors because at the time, any type of ailment was seen as, some form of evil
Yeah.
or
Witchcraft.
possibly a hex.
Yeah.
So she would, often fall to the ground and have epileptic fits. So her father kept her indoors. One day she sneaks out and she goes into the town square, and what do you know? It's an epileptic fit. And all the viewers there who saw it were drawn away from their activities to her. And of course, at the time, because of all the witch scare and all that stuff, they asked her who put the hex on her. Now, fearing for her life, knowing that if she did not put an answer out, she simply pointed somewhere in the crowd, and that person died. But in a very tragic, what that must have done to the little girl. But Mercy Lewis also gained some fame among her peers, meaning her age group, because she was the only woman in town that anyone would ever listen to. There was no other woman who had more sway than her, and she wasn't, she was a young girl. So what I'm saying by that is this is why we see shock value in so much media. We see concerts. Some people might do something as far as biting a head off of a bat, or any other things that draw people in. But yeah, there are some other values that they talk about. Again, I'm going to make this document available if you want to read through it. But most of what I found that is really important about the changing world is that adaptability and perseverance seem to go a long ways. You almost have to try and realize that it doesn't work and try to make it work again some other way. I like the YouTube because I still believe that video media is still a way to get a hold of people. Although the videos are getting, smaller and smaller, they definitely are, you know, um, still a way that people connect with people. So for now, I still believe that cinema, video, and being very well prepared, creating some form of moth to the flame effect is still very effective. So finally, I have this little piece, as a part of the presentation, and it's talking about, reach out and find your tribe. You have a message. You got to find people out there who also may have the same beliefs. Here's why. It turns out, I'm not the only one who was trying to talk about hydrogen energy. And there I was spending gargantuan amounts of time, money, and you better believe trying to get a message out there. And there was already people doing it, and I was doing it alone. So what I found is that your type of ideal might be shared, and this could help save you a lot of trouble. You can also learn from them on and trying to help deliver your unique message. So, again, it's not you versus the world most of the time. Sometimes it's you and your tribe versus the world, and that's a little bit better. Um, so I'm actually going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit about the whole YouTube thing. So let me show you here. I'm going to stop the
Hey, you,
actually,
you said you're going to make this available to me?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
This
because I would really like to reference it. You know,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. And I when we do your meeting, actually, I want you to do the same thing, but I want to be like a bystander in your meeting, to be able to ask supportive questions, because you wouldn't believe one of the things that, again, I go back to Mercy Lewis. What gave her the power of sway was that she could draw a crowd. Now back then, epileptic fits were seen as something awfully shocking. Nowadays it'll still draw a crowd. So don't use epileptic seizures to help bring a crowd in. But what I'm saying is that people, when they form a crowd, it creates relevance to a lot of different things, even if it's not the truth. So absolutely, I want to be a part of your video, and I'll get you prepared for it, and I'll show you how we'll do some practice and all that stuff. But I really do want you to be able to get your message out, because again, it's easy to put out instruction and have someone read a book, or go to college. And by the way, colleges do have people in multimedia, and by means, I am not a multimedia expert. I would say that there are people in the academic world who know a heck of a lot more about video and audio than I do, and there are certainly people that who run YouTube channels, who have expertise way beyond that I have for running videos. I was just simply a scientist and engineer who came along the ideal that hey, we have something profound the world needs to know, and that's what kind of nudged me to pay attention to multimedia just a little bit more than average. So let me get this off of the screen, and we're going to go to just Gmail. So when this meeting is done, it's going to become a file, just like any file. It's going to become somewhat of a download. Now, I don't have any here, but you can look at it straight from your computer. But what I'm going to be interested in, as soon as the file is ready, is to be able to download the file so that I can look at it and then, finally put it on the YouTube feed. Now, the YouTube feed only requires you to have a Gmail, and I mean this, as in you have
Hey,
a Gmail.
so
Yeah.
when you say file, you're talking about what I've created, right? And I
Uh,
put it in a file.
You can certainly do that, but what we're doing right now, everything that we've been talking about, also becomes a file as an actual video. So what we're doing right now is a video. So this meeting right here is a video. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's that goes in a file, correct?
It becomes a file, yes.
Becomes a file.
Yeah.
All right. And is it automatically a file, or do you have to name it and put it somewhere?
Well, when we did this, when I started this meeting, I did the recording,
Oh,
and
at the bottom,
yeah, so
you
that
hit
that
record.
the file that I can access, and
Okay.
once I have access to that file, then I can upload it to the YouTube. Okay,
Right.
so
Okay.
the way I do my YouTube feed is this. So YouTube requires you to have a Gmail anyway, and it's
Yeah.
because they've had a partnership from the beginning. So the minute you have an inbox, a Gmail inbox like this, meaning if you use Gmail or just simply have a Gmail account, then you also have access to the Gmail tools. And I'm going to show you that right now. Off to this little area, I have my email open, and right over here, can you see this?
Yes. The waffle.
Yeah, that's the waffle. And
Yeah.
right here, I have YouTube. Okay. So if I
Yeah.
go to YouTube right now, this is going to my YouTube. This is my channel. I don't, this is not my stuff here. That's, this is just stuff that pops up. So from here, I can actually create a video, or I can download or upload a video to this after it's been made. So I like using the meeting platforms, especially, the Google Meets, because once you have that file, you can put it here in your YouTube feed and upload it as a video. You can also do it live too, but the thing about that is, let's just say you have someone in your audience or something, and they just use some form of profanity that just makes it a little less general audience. You may
Yeah.
want to go in there and edit. So the thing is when you start getting into that, now you're delving into multimedia the way multimedia people do. And luckily with YouTube, you can edit, but it's not exact science. I mean, it's not the greatest. It's free. So, a lot of people use video editing software so they can go into the video, cut clips out, add stuff in, or whatever, and make it a little bit more professional. So movie makers, for example, what they're doing is a lot of movies, for example, are being used to deliver a message of some sort, and that's just the thing is, if we're thinking about, can you still see all this stuff?
Yes.
Okay. If we're really thinking about how movies, dynamically involve people into something, it's not just the action that they're trying to put out or make money. A lot of movie makers are using their platform in order to make a message clear. So what I'm saying is that multimedia goes really far. And there are groups of multimedia that we already know. There's news outlets, and those are what we compete with in a sense. However, YouTube and YouTube influencers, as we call them, are a rising dynamic in the whole scheme of things. So, it's something to consider and think about and look into, because, there's a lot of people out there that are what we call YouTube famous. And that is the bottom line is when you're trying to influence and put a message out in the world, you're creating some form of fame, and you have to be ready for that. There's some tools now. It's been a while. Oh, here we go. So I went to this one right here, and if I had this video ready, I would go here, and then it would ask me what I want to, you can like actually drag the file, or you can select the file from your computer, and then away you go. You can name it, label it, you name it, and that takes a little bit more time. And we're not going to jump on that yet. The thing that we want to actually do is get your Google working, because the next one is going to be a more convenient. So Zoom, they have that limitation of video. So, you may want to go more than 40 minutes, or if you are very comfortable with Zoom, you would have to pay more or a monthly fee to use all those tools or be longer. And then especially have more of an audience. I think
So, Sequoia, why don't we go to Google Meets now?
so right now I don't have access to controlling your computer through the Google Meets right now.
Ah, okay,
I chose Zoom just in case I needed to do some technical stuff, and it's probably because I haven't found the little button to control your computer using the Google. And
okay,
I think you have to actually have an app installed on your computer for me to control it remotely. Zoom, I can just do it straight from there. So I use that Zoom for that reason. But when it comes to video conferencing, and being able to record a video and not worry about things, I certainly like to use the Google Meets just because it doesn't limit your time. Here's two videos that I've already posted from the past. You can see this one was from 2016. This one was also from 2016. I was really just doing some test, and you can decide whether the video. And again, this is also why I choose Google for the media stuff. I'm doing Zoom right now just like I said for the control, but the media stuff I do with the Google and the YouTube, because you can go in here and change whether you want the video to be available right now. You can do some editing, you can do all this stuff, and it's all controlled right here, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Okay. So, and it takes a while. You again, you have to persevere with all this stuff. You have to, be ready to jump into a whole new world of things to learn. And it's kind of like email in a sense, except that you're actually putting yourself out there.
okay,
There we go.
okay.
All right, and let's see here. See if it allows me to request remote control, or did they move that? Let's try. Oh, here we go. And go ahead and hit the button that says approve.
All right. You can see all this, right?
Now I
Once,
can. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So you have a lot of windows open up here.
Where's here?
Right up on the top here on this window. Let's see. Oh, you still have the Zoom screen in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to minimize this window here. Hold on a second. Okay. Did you see that happen?
No, I see a big turtle on
Okay.
the screen, but no, I didn't see how you did that.
Okay. Let me open up this screen again. I'm going to open up the browser, Google Chrome. Okay. And what I am trying to see is if you had a Gmail account. And it looks like you have something here. Let's
I
see.
have a Gmail account. Yeah. You want me to tell you what it is?
Yeah, actually.
Okay. Hold, I accessed it before. Uh, wait. Okay, just hang on, please.
Okay.
All right. Ah,
Actually, I might be able to let me see if
it's
it's
now I can't find it. Uh, darn it.
is it the mwilborn104@gmail.com?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me uh let me take some notes on that real quick, because we're gonna want to get that to be a little bit more of a, because I think you had it but you weren't using it. Um Minimize this window. Oh, uh, there we go. Dim will. Okay. Okay. So you do have a Gmail account, but it's trying to do some verification. Let's see. Let's see if it'll let you. Do you know your password for this email?
No.
Okay. So that's going to be one of the things we're going to have to do before we do your meeting, because we're going to set you up and get you to, create a meeting, put some content. I'm going to show you how to do some like, just like some basic, like imagery stuff and pictures and something to help, but you don't even need that. You can also just film yourself. But just in case you wanted that, it's there. But yeah, we
Uh,
do need to recover the password for this, so we won't do that right now because we have some other things that we want to touch.
Okay.
Um, Mainly, what I wanted to talk about was what was kind of floating on your mind. The topic of which that's got you ready to go out there and talk to people. If you had like a sentence or a small word or just something like that, what would it be? Go ahead and type it into this little spot right here.
Where?
Do you see this? Oh, I guess you don't see this, huh? Let me see. Try now. I was doing mine, I guess. Notepad. Here we go. Right here. There we go.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. There. Stop a lot.
Stop a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, would you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes. Thinking uh, how the whole process of uh, getting rid of, changing one's thinking without having a frontal lobotomy
Okay.
of the mind. To, yeah, that's it. To not be prey to thoughts automatically, to be able to recognize when that's happening and to do something positive about it.
Okay.
So I'm not continually jerked around by uh, crappy thinking.
I see. So kind of like the defense against brainwashing, if you will, right? Kind of.
Well, yeah, but brainwashing begins from the outside, and this is a internal
Ah,
thing that most people have done automatically without knowing it. And to be able to alter that so they're so they gain relief from that kind of negative guidance is important and very freeing because uh, I'm not I'm no longer at the mercy of these diffused thoughts that just seem to automatically appear, which don't help me. They don't serve me in any positive way.
how about this statement right here? Internal relief against negative thought.
Okay.
Is that kind of close to more of the direction you're trying to go?
Yeah. But I want to emphasize the, uh, the fact that an individual has the ability, the power, the capability to alter their thinking. Yeah. And it's not magical or anything, it just requires practice. Uh, but say that again, what you said about internal what?
An internal relief against negative thought, a how-to process on how to alter, I didn't mean later, alter your
Yeah.
own thinking.
Yeah.
Is that kind of where we're at?
Yeah.
I'm going to take this right here.
Internal relief against negative thought, how to process,
Oops.
how to alter your own thinking.
Hit record. So we're going to do the part two of this. And so what we left off is we were talking about a general message that you're trying to put out.
Yeah.
And
Hey, I'm sorry, Sequoia, but please increase the volume
okay.
some.
All right. Let me bring this closer. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's my my camera is my microphone combined, so it's a little bit any type of movement that I do from this, you can lose the sound real easily.
Okay,
Oh,
that's good.
okay, so we left off with talking about, a message that you're trying to get out there, which is boil down a method for relief against negative thought and a how to process on how to alter someone's thinking of their own thinking, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to actually bring in kind of like a special guest. It's actually an electronic thing, um, and it helps with things like this because sometimes when people go out on YouTube, they just see people talking and they have no idea whether they can trust what they're saying or not. So it happens that AI, and a lot of people don't trust AI, but they didn't trust calculators either. And what I like about AI is that it ties in a lot of information that, sometimes is really hard to find on your own or just simply takes a lot of time. So I'm going to bring that in and I'm going to talk about, let's see, going ahead. Okay, and I have to talk to it. So it will talk back. Try not to flood over it. When it does that, it'll get confused. It's really strange. But let me go ahead and do this and introduce both of us. Hi, my name is Sequoia, and I have with me Michael Wilborn, and we're talking about a topic of putting out a message about relief or a method of relief against negative thought and how to process that and how people can alter their own thinking.
Hi, Sequoia and Michael. It's great that you're exploring this important topic. Negative thoughts can significantly impact our well being, so finding ways to manage them is crucial. Here's a breakdown of some key methods for finding relief and altering thinking patterns. 1. Recognizing and challenging negative thoughts. Identify cognitive distortions. These are common thinking errors that often fuel negative emotions. Examples include all or nothing thinking, seeing things in black and white, e.g., I'm a complete failure. Overgeneralization. Drawing broad conclusions based on a single event, e.g., this always happens to me. Catastrophizing. Expecting the worst case scenario, e.g., this will be a disaster. Personalization. Blaming yourself for things outside your control. Challenge the thoughts. Once you recognize a negative thought, ask yourself, is this thought truly accurate? Is there any evidence to support this thought? Are there alternative explanations for the situation? What would I say to a friend who was having this thought? 2. Mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness. Cultivating present moment awareness without judgment. This helps you detach from negative thought patterns and observe them without getting caught up in them. Meditation. Practices like deep breathing, guided imagery, and mindfulness meditation can help calm the mind and reduce stress. 3. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. CBT is a structured approach that focuses on identifying and changing negative thought patterns and behaviors. It involves techniques like cognitive restructuring, relaxation training, and behavioral experiments. 4. Lifestyle changes. Regular exercise. Physical activity releases endorphins, which have mood boosting effects. Healthy diet. Nourishing your body with whole foods provides the energy and nutrients needed for optimal brain function. Sufficient sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. Social connection. Spend time with loved ones and engage in social activities. 5. Journaling. Regularly writing down your thoughts and feelings can help you gain insights into your thought patterns and identify areas for improvement. Important considerations. Consistency is key. These techniques require consistent practice to be effective. Self compassion. Be patient with yourself as you learn to manage your thoughts. It's a journey, not a race. Seek professional help. If you're struggling with negative thoughts, consider seeking guidance from a therapist or counselor. They can provide personalized support and teach you more advanced coping strategies. I hope this information is helpful. Disclaimer. This information is for general knowledge and informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Let me know if you have any other questions.
So, of course, it went longer than I wanted it to, but I'm going to ask it another question. I'm going to make sure it's shorter this time. This is kind of like the mainstream stuff. What I'm going to ask it to talk about whether there is movements or groups that are already exploring this topic.
Hey, good.
Real short, is there other groups or movements exploring this topic?
Yes, absolutely. Here are a few examples. Mindfulness based stress reduction, MBSR, a well known program that emphasizes mindfulness meditation and other techniques to reduce stress and improve emotional regulation. Positive psychology. This field focuses on strengths, virtues, and well being, exploring how to cultivate positive emotions, build resilience, and increase happiness. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that emphasizes virtue, reason, and living in accordance with nature. Stoics practice techniques like focusing on what they can control and accepting what they cannot. These are just a few examples, and there are many other groups and organizations dedicated to exploring and promoting positive thinking and emotional well being.
Can you provide three that thrive in New Mexico?
The Mindful Life Project. This organization offers a variety of mindfulness based programs, including stress reduction courses and meditation retreats, throughout New Mexico. The Center for Mindful Living. Located in Santa Fe, this center provides a range of mindfulness and meditation classes, workshops, and retreats for individuals and groups. The University of New Mexico Counseling and Psychological Services, KEAPS. While primarily a student service, KEAPS offers a variety of mental health services, including cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and mindfulness based therapies. Disclaimer: this is not an exhaustive list, and the specific programs and services offered by these organizations may vary. I recommend contacting these organizations directly to inquire about their current offerings and to find the best fit for your needs.
And one more very short thing. Can you talk to us a little bit about the effectiveness of delivering messages or information in general on YouTube or social media?
YouTube and social media can be very effective for delivering messages, but it depends heavily on target audience. Understanding who you're trying to reach is key. Content format. Videos, short clips, engaging visuals, and concise text are generally more effective. Platform choice. Each platform has a different audience and style. Clear messaging. Keep it concise, impactful, and easy to understand. Engagement. Encourage interaction. Likes, comments, shares to increase reach. Potential challenges. Information overload. It's easy for messages to get lost in the noise. Algorithm changes. Platform algorithms can constantly shift, impacting visibility, misinformation, and disinformation. Controlling the spread of false information can be difficult. Overall, YouTube and social media offer powerful tools for communication, but they require a thoughtful and strategic approach.
Thoughtful and strategic. Yes, I like that.
So that's our special guest for today. Her name is, or his name is, or whatever we want to call it, Google Gemini. It's available to you already now. Having a
Google Gemini?
Google Gemini, you already have it. And I'll share with you this whole conversation that we just had with it. Um, I'll get that to you as well, so that you can have all that information we just talked. You'll also be able to get to it through the video as well. Um, so it's just an example of we're not alone. When we find something great out there, we're not alone. And the most potent way to get your information out there actually is to become part of that audience too. So and I've been really bad in the last couple of years because I've been busy, but there have been several conferences in New Mexico talking about alternative energy, and I haven't gone to a single one. Nor did I reach out to them. Did I even give them a pat on their back and say, "Hey, thank you. I didn't go, but thank you for having this in your mind. Thanks for trying to come up with something new, at the very minimal, because we can't stay where we are. We have to move forward." So, that's the most, I think, potent thing. And you find that you might be able to put your hands back and say, you know what? Hey, I don't have to stress out as much about, people trying to help or a message out there when there are people really working hard to put a message out there. So I guarantee you this right here, and I'm going to get back to sharing my screen. So let me share mine. Oops. You can see this, right?
Yeah.
I guarantee you this message out there is something, and of course, my terrible typing, relief against negative thought, a how-to process on how to alter your thinking. You know, that's almost the title of a book. It can go a lot further than you know. Um, but what I found was that we when we do the Lone Ranger thing with important stuff, we find out how much work we didn't have to do. You
Yeah.
know? So, but again, every little bit helps. And one person can certainly change the world, and we've seen it before. Nikola Tesla, Gandhi, there's all kinds of people. Of course, Nikola Tesla didn't change the world till 300 years later. You know, I mean, not 300. I'm thinking of a different scientist. 100 years later, that people are actually thinking about his, technology and the possibilities. Now, there's plenty of people that are just debunkers on him, but there's also plenty of, skeptics that saying, well, hey, he didn't really try this or this, or we didn't see that. Well, that doesn't mean it's not there. It just, you know, the thought process just didn't go. And it sounds like that there's a few scientists that are investigating and saying, hey, wait a minute, we tried a few of its experiments and they're working. So skeptics, can you can you fill in? Um, all right. What I really want to show you is what kind of the process. So we have a video already. That was the one that we already created just a moment ago when we were, talking on the first video. Of course, this became a part two, but it's okay. And it looks like I've recorded a video before. There's one in session right now, and that's what it does. It creates a video file and sends it to a folder. Here's the video that we first created. It also created an audio, which is nice. In case you just want to, you don't even want it to be a video, you just want it to be a small. And the difference between video and audio is this: you can see on the size, the file, the
Yeah.
audio for the length of 40 minutes, is 24,000 kilobytes versus the 94,000 kilobytes as a video and audio. So,
Yeah.
these are actual files. They're called, so this is they did an M4A file. It's a WAV file for the first, the audio. The video is an MP4 file. So it's kind of what I mean by that is that's the format of file. So when you save a document, it's a doc usually. There's other formats for documents as well. Okay. So with this file here, I can actually, if I want to, go to my waffle. I gotta move the video out of the way. Go to my waffle, go to YouTube, and in the YouTube, I can actually go ahead and hit create and upload video. Now, I'm not going to go all the way because I got to check on the video. You almost have to have that amount of pride and, say, well, I better look at the video first and see, if it's good. I might be able to clip some stuff out where I was, like, sneezing or something. It depends on you. And sometimes people like that realism, sometimes they don't. Uh,
Yeah.
but I actually have that file in my downloads, or actually no, documents, excuse me, in a folder called Zoom. The Gmail does it similar. Actually, they just send the file to your email and then you download it. It's sometimes a little easier that way because we can always get to our email. And I go here and there's the file. If I select this file, hit open, and it takes a moment because it's rather large. I can do a title for this whole thing and you name it. In other words, it's ready to go. And the minute it's there, it's viewable if I want it to be. That's the big
Uh,
one.
okay. To edit and revise, I get that's on a site.
So you can use the YouTube tool. I'm not that familiar with the YouTube tool to edit videos. I actually have video editing software that I bought long time ago. Expensive. It really is. Um, but there's a plethora of them out there. Amazon sells them. Some of them are subscription. Some people are getting really clever and saying, I'm not paying a subscription. They're using Linux-based video editing softwares. There's all sorts of little places. And you can what it allows you to do is go in there clip by clip or frame by frame and all sorts of things, and you can actually add stuff. You can add effects. You want to add like a audience clapping. I don't do stuff like that. I will never do that. But some people add it to make it a little more interesting because again, we're talking that you may have one person out there just going blah bitty blah bitty blah, and there's this person stops and say, well, why would I want to listen to this? That's why you see what we call clickbait, and captivation is the word that I was looking for earlier. You have to captivate people in order to want to, listen to your stuff. And it becomes not just a project, becomes a discipline, it becomes an obsession almost. People go really far with their videos. And again, there I was, a high school student thinking I was alone. Then the YouTube world came out, and then I found that there was people just doing a really good job at conveying information. So it took that long to actually upload the video. I almost feel like, should I just do it? And I can. If I hit next, continue, these are all the little things that I can, I can upload a file, so I can upload that file that you saw at the beginning. I can put some additional files on it. I can do all kinds of stuff on this, and make it ready for the world to view. And right down here, you can adjust what kind of playlist it is. That there's all sorts of things to do with this. With all these capabilities, however, you start to understand that this is a complex thing in a sense. And as a beginner, when people go into this, it is going to be a struggle. Okay. So a lot of people, after seeing this, say, you know what, Sequoia, just do it for me. We'll record a video and you take the rest of it for us. And I do. And I was like, are you sure? I have to charge and do that every time. And I really encourage people to learn to do this. And you have to be patient with yourself. But, yes, you can always call on me and you say, I want to do a video. I have these guys over and all this stuff. Do you want to do that? You schedule something. And just like how the city of Las Vegas does, we do the same thing. It's completely up to you. But the more money you save, the better, and the more control you have over your stuff, the better. You know what I mean? And I tend to think that when people take that much ownership of something that they're doing, it just comes out better. Because as much as I know, there's certain things that you may not like about what I do. For example, like this was just a way. I'm showing you a way to record a video. I use meetings because for me, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to academic meetings. I'm used to all those little things. So, again, this is not the only way you could do it. I mean, I'm not going to continue on the rest of this because I'd like to do that when you have your file ready. I don't want to upload this yet. I want to try to, like I say, combine the video that we had now and in the earlier videos. I want to put the two together.
Yeah.
So,
And,
that that,
and you're
that
going to send you're going to send me a link for those, right?
yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm gonna try to get it done today. Uh,
Okay.
it's gonna be kind of hard. I have to, of course, tomorrow I have to actually take off out of town to pick up some hardware. But this is very valuable to me because, what I realized when you were asking for this is like, a lot of people are asking for the same thing Mike Wilburn's asking for. So I'm going to actually use this, put it on YouTube, and I'm like, hey, I have a video for you guys to watch. Watch this video about the same thing. And the whole premise is you got something that you want to talk to people about. Now you're exploring computers and internet and multimedia, or media in general, to get the message out. And I think this is a great way to, what we're doing here, and your questions and, just the interaction is a great way for people to see, and not have to spend a dime, you know, and, be able to, kind of say, okay, I understand that, because there was all those little things in the beginning that I discovered trying to get the message out, which was the difficulties, there's all sorts of things. And if I could shield if I can shield every great thinker out there from all those problems, I do it happily. You know what I mean? And that's what's nice about YouTube is it's free. You know, you can go back and watch this video after it's all done over and over again, and it's almost like a class that you paid for, but you paid for it now in time, and you can watch it over. Those questions emerge. What did he say about that one thing? And with a professor, like, oh, I already discussed that. Go read your book. That's why YouTube is changing the world. You know, this allows people to come and sit down and watch a video and you know eh, pass a little time to enjoy themselves in topics that they enjoy. And that's really powerful. And as long as we have free open media where we can do this sort of thing, I think people should really truly embrace learning how to do this, because it isn't just about messages for the heart and the mind. There's technologies. I mean, I've plucked up technologies from the YouTube that really help me around this lab that I'm in, all
Yeah.
sorts of things. So, it really has a lot of stock and value. And people are learning how to go over there and they're like, yeah, it's not from a university, but it showed me how to do it, so I don't care. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Hey, um, okay. To make a recording, do I do it with Zoom? To
No, no. I'm gonna show you how to use Google Meets. And the reason for
okay,
it is with the Google Meets for the time being is uninterrupted. You can have that meeting as long as you want. I'm gonna show you
and I can record me talking, right?
absolutely. Just like how we're
Okay.
doing now. And
Yeah.
actually slightly, I don't want to say, there's some perks about it. Like each interface is a little different, but there's some things that I personally like about Google Meets as well. The one that I really like is that I'm not limited to 40 minutes. I know that they
Yeah.
want to sell, you know, more Zoom stock and all that stuff, but you know, 40 minutes isn't even a real conversation these days. So, of course I could pay for the Zoom extended, but again, I don't do this often enough for me to say, okay, this product deserves a monthly fee, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I mean, I want to show you the Google thing also because it's attached to the Gmail and to the YouTube that you already have. You already have everything you need. You're not having to pay for anything. You already have everything you need to start broadcasting your own videos to YouTube, other than maybe a mic and well, you do have a mic and camera, obviously. You have
Yeah.
everything you need. You just the knowledge now. So
Wow.
this is kind of like just an intro video, or an introduction into this whole thing. The rest is, you start learning. Okay, so I host a meeting. Now, what if you don't have anyone in attendance to your meeting, and you want to record and all that stuff? That's the wonderful thing about the Gmail is you can go to your own meeting with another device, for example, or you can invite people to your meetings real quickly through your email, or you can schedule a meeting and have these discussions. So, for example,
Wow. Wow. That's great.
yeah,
That's Google Meets or Gmail.
Google
What?
Meets. Yeah.
Google Meets.
Well, it's the whole Google product. So, if you're looking at and a lot of people, I'm telling you, schools are using this right now. There's a lot of talk about this already, and I'll open up another browser window so you can see. So again, once you have yourself signed into your email or signed into the Google Chrome browser, you have all these products. Look right here is that Google Gemini. Oh, yeah, you can see it. Google
Yeah.
Gemini. So that's
Yeah.
the artificial intelligence we were talking about.
Ah,
Right here, you have a calendar, and here's my calendar and all that good stuff. Here's our meeting. So today, if I wanted to, I could have made this, into a Google Meets, and it's already on the calendar. You share it with someone via the email, and they just simply click on the link. So you can do that too. And so this was our meeting today. I could have added a Google Meets conference. See what I'm saying?
yeah.
But for the time being, I think that, this is a good start. I'm gonna stop your sharing. And I'm gonna be kind of busy for the next couple of days, but I want to get the final video link. I'll email it to you so that you can just simply click on it and go. You can save it any way you want to. I'm gonna try to attach some of the documents that I procured doing this, like including the AI conversation, and then what we can do is make sure that you absolutely can get into your Gmail because once we're gonna have to sit down and try to unlock your Gmail. Once we have access to your Gmail, then I think you'll be able to do anything you want to, and you'll start to appreciate what you can do with it as you start to explore with it. And you'll find that a lot of stuff is connected and linked. So yeah, I mean, if you're really trying to have conversations with people, I would strongly recommend going and on that AI she listed
Yeah.
some places that you can actually look up and go to those conferences. You'll be surprised that you might be like, well, wow, where were you guys this whole time? And that's one of those things is as we get into this electronic age, we're starting to realize that we're losing connection with a lot of people. And I think that, things like that, especially with with our topics that it helps to know that there are other people thinking about it too.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. Hey, so okay, this has really been so helpful,
I'm glad.
Sequoia. I'm so great. No, so it's going to be a couple of days before you send me a link for what you've shown me
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
That's that's
Let me
fine.
get all that stuff done first. Like I say, you know, I wanted this to be worth the time, and I kind of, I feel like this can also benefit a lot of people. So if I put that out there and people pay attention, that's great. If they don't, that's okay too. You and I can look at it, or I can use it for all the other people who call me and say, hey, instead of having to charge them, for because I have to charge for my time as a technician, and an engineer. They can just say, hey, try this link, and if it doesn't help, then we can have a meeting, because I think what I'm going to start to do with a lot of things is start building tools like this for people because, I didn't get into engineering for a light reason. I still go by the same ethos that brought me here when I was looking for that hydrogen technology, and that is I wanted to help. Yes, I got to make a living, but you know, believe me, I'm busy. So I'm okay. But things like this can go a long way and bring a little comfort to people because, it was also scary to understand that I had this thing looming in my brain, like we've got to help people and I got to get this message out. And I still have things like that, in the back of my head. I did made other discoveries too. But, I've started to realize that, I kind of did what a lot of scientists do, including Nikola Tesla, boxed myself into a laboratory, stayed in there, and did not come out for years. And, I'm starting to realize that, there's people out there who share a lot of the same values. And hey, I'm happy to know this technology better than I do. And I'm very thrilled by that. So yeah, no problem. And yeah, we'll discuss all the things later on. And let me work on these videos and all that stuff. I'll send that out to you, and then we'll worry about all the other logistics stuff later. Okay.
Sure. Pretty good, huh? I was looking for the piece of paper I wrote it down on, but I didn't find it, but I remembered. Okay. Hey man, this is great. I'm so pleased. I wow. I'm gonna go to Google Meets and fool around a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And
Just
if you can try to get your password out. If you can't, if you don't remember it, don't try it too many times because it'll lock that account out for.
oh yeah.
So,
Okay.
just if you get stuck with that, just stop right there, and I'll help you recover it. It's probably tied to one of your cell phones or something else or another email, and we
Okay.
can just change the password and get you right back in. Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, what about our next meeting? You'll probably
Yeah,
know
yeah.
about that in a few days.
I'll next week. So I'm looking at. Hopefully, I'll be in touch with you on Monday or Tuesday.
Okay. That's good. It's very
Okay,
good. Okay. Thank you. Really
no
terrific.
problem. I'm
All
glad
right.
you liked it. All right.
Bye.
Bye bye.